Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. I'm excited to have my buddy Isaac Rowe here today. We're going to be talking about something that I've really been passionate about, and Isaac is too. That's building relationships and the power of relationships to help you in your business. Professional real estate investors know that it's not really about the real estate. In fact, real estate is just a vehicle to freedom. A group of over 100 of the nation's leading real estate investors from across the country meet several times a year at the Investor Fuel Real Estate Mastermind to share ideas on how to strengthen each other's businesses, but also to come together as friends and build more fulfilling lives for all of those around us. On today's show, we're going to continue our conversation of fueling our businesses and fueling our lives. I'm glad you're here. Hey, Isaac, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, good to have you. We were kind of talking about how things are shaking out at the kind of tail end of this COVID stuff. Actually, the time we're recording this is a few weeks before it's actually coming out. So I know it's everything's unwinding here, I think, pretty rapidly. So, but excited to talk about, I know you're kind of itching because we're talking about relationships today. For us, relationships are often meeting people face to face, right?
Yeah.
And we're kind of let me out of my cage, right? So,
absolutely.
But hey, before we kind of get into the relationship building stuff, let's talk a little bit about your background. Tell us about how you got started, how you found your way into real estate investing.
Sure. I've always been passionate about real estate. I was a teenager reading Rich Dad Poor Dad and Robert Kiyosaki and all that fun stuff. And it's always been something I wanted to do. So about seven years ago, I just jumped in full time. I started as an agent and I worked with, I just kind of got lucky in the sense I had got some really good connections to some really solid investors. And at that time, I wasn't sure if I was going to be an agent for investors or retail, but I always wanted to get into real estate investing. So I naturally kind of moved in the direction of working with other investors and did that for a couple of years and then started investing myself full time. So I've been full time investing for about 6 years now. And now we are flipping, buying and wholesaling. We just do a little bit of everything now and really enjoying it. Family man, married about 10 years with 3 little kids. So one of my favorite things about this business is just that it lets me spend a lot of time with my family. I don't ever work more than 30 or 40 hours in a week. And if I need to work 20 or take time off, I do. Yeah. So I feel very, very fortunate to be able to do what I do. So.
Yeah, that's great. That's kind of everybody has a different goal, but I say, sometimes you still work hard, right? There's days where you work hard, probably weeks where you work hard. But if you need to pull the time off, you're like, well, I can do it. I still work hard, but we like to travel, and there's just certain weeks where I'm just like, I'm out. I don't have to worry about asking for that usually. So, unless it's my wife and I'm going on a trip without her, then I have to ask her permission.
Well, we all dealing with that, right? We're all dealing with that.
Yeah. So hey, let's talk a little bit about. We're gonna talk about relationships here, and I know you feel the same way as I do. Is it just makes life better when you're.
Yeah.
I've just found when I started in real estate, I was definitely more closed-minded. I was kind of in my foxhole, doing my thing, probably a little bit scarcity mindset, and then I kind of realized hey, real estate with friends is better. It's just kind of better just building relationships and stuff. So, but let's talk about some of the things that you do to build relationships. It's easy to say that. What do you do differently? Because nobody would say, I hate relationships with people. Nobody would say that. But it is a craft. It's something you have to focus on. How do I benefit this person, or how do I build a relationship with that person? Let's talk about some of the things you actually do to, what does that mean? Build relationships. What does that mean to you?
Sure. It means a lot of things. But I think really for me, the core of it really comes down to how you communicate with people and adding value to people. So one of the biggest things for me is just adding value to people. So, I think we are naturally, we can naturally be very selfish in a sense. I go into conversations and I'm thinking about me and what I want and what I'm trying to get from this conversation. I think there's got to be a kind of mental training that goes on where you retrain your mind to go into conversations thinking about the other person and how I can add value to them. What do they want? What do they need? Because if you're not like that, then they sense that you're you are looking after yourself first. And I think just being the kind of person that people want to work with. So am I a good listener? Am I asking a lot of questions? Am I actually caring about this person, or am I just trying to think, how can I get something from you? Right.
Yeah.
So I think for me, that's a huge piece for me. And I think that if you genuinely care about people, then they will want to work with you. And there's no magic trick to it, right? It's not like I have to trick you to try to mind Jedi, do some weird thing to try to get you to like me. I just want to be me, and I want to care about you. And I think it is really very, very simple. And I think we try to overcomplicate it sometimes. But yeah, that's the core of it from me.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I think we're so used as real estate investors. Like I want to go do something. I want to go on an appointment and come back with a contract. Like it's like we as it's just kind of human nature these days because things happen so fast. I can get on the internet and figure anything out. Is like we want immediate gratification, but the relationship stuff is a long-term game. It is, and I don't say game in a negative way. It's just relationships take time to build, even in marriages, right? So it's just
we're all trying to get better, right?
Yeah, but I've just found like sometimes people are like, well, I went to a RIA club and I got a bunch of business cards. It's like, okay, well, that's not really networking. That's just collecting business cards that you're going to throw in a drawer somewhere. But, it's like, it's just this art of like just continuous pressure on trying to do good things for people and not expecting anything immediately in return, but knowing that over time things will come back around, right?
Yeah, exactly right. And I think one of the things for me is, so instead of going into a meeting going, how many business cards can I get? I would much rather go in and go, can I really connect and talk to 2 or 3 people and get to know them well and actually build a relationship where I can call this person in the future and I can find out stuff about them and share some value with them, and how can I add value to them? And if I'm not listening, if I'm not paying attention to them, if I'm not making eye contact and I'm acting bored and I want to go to the next conversation, if I'm not focused and in that moment with them, then the odds of that relationship ever turning into anything else are slim. So I think focus, asking questions, taking a genuine interest in other people, for me, I am a people person. And I know for some people, this is probably easier than others. I really like people. I like meeting new people. I like talking to people. So it does come maybe a little bit more naturally to me and other people who are like that. But I think anybody is very, very capable of going in and just really choosing a couple of people, like be very focused on it. And then don't just lose those business cards, right? Track those. I mean, I have spreadsheets where I track people, not in a bad way, but I don't want to forget about them, right? Because I get busy, stuff happens. And if I don't track my interactions and make sure that I'm intentional about it, then I'm going to forget. Like I'm going to get busy and I'm going to go on to the next thing I'm doing. But there is so much value in relationships. And for me, it is a thing of as well. One person has the power to add a lot of value to your business. Sure. One relationship. I mean, most of my business is done with 5 to 10 people, and those are people that I've built relationships with over the last five years or so. So it isn't this, I don't need 100 people. I need 5 to 10 good people who have the right values and who want to do some business together. And there's a lot that can be done just from something that small. So,
yeah. And it's amazing too, just how there's so many, I don't know how to say this any other way than to say there's just a lot of shitheads out there in this industry that kind of give the industry a bad name, like some bad seeds, if you will, or it's just an area where there tend to be a lot of people that are much more about themselves. Right.
Yeah.
And I think it goes to show when I know you guys have a club, when I go to like some of the events we have here or whatever, like you said, I think it's so powerful to just ask people like, what's going on with you? What do you need help with? What's your biggest challenge in your business? And then just listening for a couple of minutes. I think, especially if you do a lot of volume in your market. I have a pretty good reputation, I think, generally in my market.
Sure.
I say generally, I don't want to like pat myself on the back, but I don't know anybody that says anything negative about me, but it's just like, there's people that I don't even know, but they know me because of the show or because of being around or whatever. And I think just being attentive to people like that, they kind of like, people kind of know that. They just appreciate that. Yeah. And I think we kind of made a joke about it earlier. It kind of means you get lucky more often. And luck is like, I'm kind of using the word luck. I kind of use air quotes here. It's not luck. It's like, it's what happened from you doing the right things over time and being helpful to people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of times too, we try to overcomplicate it a little bit. Like I've got to become this master at something in the business, or this, I gotta find the latest secret or the latest fad or the latest trick or the latest way to do a deal. But in the end, all of that stuff is secondary and it all kind of flows naturally. But there is, much, much more important than that is just that genuine attention to people.
Yeah.
And I think we get so focused on these other, what I would call micro issues, and that, those things are secondary. This is a macro issue. Like if you can't connect with someone or genuinely care for somebody, then no matter what else you do in your business, you are going to hit walls. You're going to have issues. You're going to hit ceilings that you're going to have a hard time breaking through. Because you just won't be able to get that traction that builds over years and years of building those kind of relationships and friendships too. Like a lot of people that I do business with are really good friends now. Like we go to their house for dinner, our kids play together. Our wives are friends. Like it's more than just how do I make money doing something with you? It's like, how do we grow something together? How do we build something together? How do we add value? So I think having that big picture mindset is really, really important, and seeing beyond that moment, right? So that moment is very important, but that moment can create a lot of future moments that can create a lot of value for all the people involved. So it is the core of my business really at this point, and it's something that I feel very, very fortunate too, that I had some really, really good people in my life teach me some of this stuff when I was younger, and I think that all of these things have really, really, really benefited me, and I feel very, very lucky really with that.
You know what's interesting too is in this conversation, I hope people are getting value. You and I are very much the same in this regard of what we're talking about here. We feel the same way. It's so rare, like on social media, like we have more friends. I'm going to use an air quotes here for those either friends than ever. Like I've got 5,000 friends, but I don't really know any of them that well,
Yeah. And
there's all these, and I don't mean to take anything away from it. There's a lot of power in social media, but it tends to create all these kind of shallow relationships that you don't really know. You know of somebody, but you don't really know them, and your interpretation of them on social media might be different than in real life, what it would be in real life. And I think anyway, when you ask somebody like, is there something I can do for you, or tell me what your biggest challenge is, or is there any way for us to work together, or just kind of asking questions, like people are, it's a weird thing. It's because it's like this lost art. People are like so taken back by that that's like a rare
thing. Don't expect it.
It's not hard to stand out if you're genuine about it. It's not hard to stand out because they're like, wow, no, nobody has ever asked me that before. Nobody recently has asked me about that. They're usually like, there's just more of a shallow relationship that never get there, which is weird.
Yeah. And I think that's where social media really becomes more of like an art form. And I'm not huge on social media. I mean, I do it here and there, but it's more of, for me, I would much rather find 3 of those people on my 5,000 friends on Facebook and connect with them and talk to them. And there's a lot more value in that than just putting out random posts, and just kind of casting a net and seeing what comes, right? There is a lot of opportunity in being more targeted in that. So one of the things that I do is I do email marketing to my list. So I have a list of I don't know, 15, 20,000 people. It's big at this point. We built it for a long time. Other people have kind of traded lists with me, but if that list doesn't mean really that much, I think people go, oh, I got to build a buyer's list. I need 10,000 people. I need 15,000 people. No, you really don't. You need 20. Like I do deals with 10 to 20 people. Like 90% of my deals are with 10 to 15 people. Right. Yep. And then there's rare times, and those people are on my list. Right. But I've gotten to know those people, and I've been intentional about letting them know that I want to work with them. So when I get a chance to meet with one of the bigger players in the area, if I have an opportunity, I make an effort to connect with them and let them know that I want to do business with them. I appreciate what they're doing in the market. I don't view them as they're not trying to take my deals, and they're not like I don't really believe in, this whole idea of, hey, we can add a lot more to each other than we can ever take away. So I'm not a big believer in the old American ideas of cutthroat business. It's just not who I am. I mean, I would much rather make less money and do 10 deals with you than make more money and do 1. Right. Yeah. So that's a huge thing for me anyway.
Yeah. So talk about some of the benefits we're talking about kind of building relationships and, building friendships and all those things over time. So what are some of the benefits? I mean, obviously one of them is more deal flow, right? You get more deals from it. And truthfully, some deals that just like I kind of say fall in your lap, but it's like, inevitably when you're building relationships with people, you just know that this is one of the things about like RIA clubs we talked about, for example, or networking. It's rare that you would never go to a RIA club and like, man, hopefully I'm going to get a house tonight. And you walk out of a RIA club with a signed contract. Like, I don't know if that ever happens because there's hundreds of people there. Right. But it doesn't really happen, but it's more like you're just planting seeds. Right.
Yes.
So ultimately there's somebody that you added value to, that you talked to, that maybe never talked to you before, or hadn't talked to you in a while, that in the back of their mind, they're like, he's the guy. Like when I get this deal, he's the guy. Right. And so obviously more deal flow is one of the things, right? I think you said you get a significant percentage of your business from relationships, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Roughly half my business is from my network.
Wow.
And that manifests in different ways, right? So there are deals that I buy from my network, and that's with realtors and wholesalers. I'm very intentional about connecting with people who are doing significant business in the area. So, and I think that that's very important. There are people who are good people who are doing a lot of business, and those people are worth they are worth connecting with. Not only can you add value to them, but they can add a lot of value to you, and they can solve a lot of problems for you as well. But they're not just going to give you their time because they're really busy, right?
Sure.
So you have got to add value to them and be able to offer them something. So one of the things that I did, I think it was about a year and a half ago, is I had a house that I rehabbed, and I'm an agent, but I've stopped listing my own homes. And it was a beautiful home. We were listing it, and I knew it would sell in 5 minutes, no matter who listed it. The market's hot. Schools are great. It's just a great area. So I didn't really need this agent to do it, but I listed it with this agent who I knew was a good guy and was somebody in the area who was very, very smart and who has a team and does a lot of business. And I gave him the listing, and it cost me $6,000 to give him this listing. And it sold. We had 4 offers over the weekend. It sold immediately at our price, and everything went very well. But I was just sowing a seed in the future, and now that agent has brought me 3 other flips that I've done in the last 18 months. Right.
Yeah.
So that awesome. $6,000 turned into probably roughly $70,000. Right. So, but those are things that I think people think the wrong way. So they think, how can I find the agent who's going to list this house for $1,000? How can I find the agent? I mean, look, if an agent's going to list your house for less than 5 or 6%, then they're not worth working with, in my opinion. Like most of those people are scraping and clawing, and they don't have what you need next year. They might put a few grand in your pocket right now, but how much money are you losing, right? So in everything I do, I'm thinking that way, and it's benefited me so much, and I've seen it work so many times that it's just become like automatic now. Because now I'm going, this is just smart business. I don't have to convince myself to do it. It wasn't easy to give the guy that listing, right? I was going, should I really do this? I'm giving away $5-6 grand here. Why am I doing this?
Yeah,
but in the end, these things, exactly, these things are critical to future business growth. And this guy and I now have a great relationship. He calls me every other week. We just catch up and talk. And every time he has a deal that needs to go to an investor, he calls me, right?
That's great.
But I gave him something first, right?
Sure.
I gave him something first, and I added a lot of value to him, and he got to know me, and it gave me a chance to kind of forge that connection with him.
That's great. So there's more deal flow. I mean, you find what are some other things, benefits you get by finding, by just kind of building relationships? Because a lot of times when you meet somebody initially, whether it's at a country club or a real estate club, it could be anywhere, right? Is you don't know where that relationship could go. It's not that everybody's going to bring you deals, right? But what are some other benefits you get by focusing on that?
I mean, I think that anyone that is in the industry, and even if they're not, right, you don't really know what they can bring to the table when you first meet them. So, trying not to bring assumptions in, trying not to assume if they can or can't help you, because even a brand new wholesaler can bring you a deal, right? So
Sure.
I get lots of people coming to me asking me questions about how they can get started, and I will give some time to all those people up front, because I know that if I help them, then they will eventually bring deals. But it's bigger than that. And the other big benefit is just private money, right? So I know a lot of investors who have been doing this a long, long time, and they're still using Lending Home and all these other lenders, and those guys are fine. So I don't have a problem with any of those lenders. But what's much better is somebody who is just a millionaire who wants to work with you, who just lends you money because they trust you and know that when you bring them a deal, they're just going to write you a check. So I'm closing a deal next week, and there's a big local investor who has just been doing this for 25 years. And I built a relationship with him over the past 3, 4, 5 years. And I asked him for $175,000. And he didn't even go look at the house. There's no appraisal fee. There's no lending fee. I'm paying him 12%. And he's getting a mortgage on the property. And this is our 7th or 8th deal now, right? So having those, you don't know what problems people can solve for you, right? Because this business is full. It is full of problems, right? So sorry about that. I should have muted my phone here before we started this. I will mute it right now, very, very quickly. I get too many phone calls. All these people that want to talk to me, Mike.
You're right, no problem. So, but yeah, you never know. We never know what value somebody could bring, right? And I think it has to start, like you said. You don't make any preconceived notions about whether somebody can help you or not.
Correct.
I think we've probably a lot of people listening to this too have had this before. This thought of like somebody that looks different or whatever. You're like, that's probably not. And the next thing you know, they're like, well, I'm trying to place a couple $1 million, like something will come out of their mouth and you're like, well, man, that wasn't my first impression of what you might have or be able to do. But so you just never know. I've just kind of learned like that it's like, just talk to people like they're anybody. Just see, well, what do you focus on right now? What are you looking to do or whatever? And you never know what's going to come out of their mouth. Right.
Yeah, you don't. And it is very, very powerful. And the person that you're talking to has the potential to solve a problem that you might not even know you have yet. Right. So as your business grows, you're constantly hitting new issues and new growth points. Right. And I think we're all dealing with that just in our daily business. Right. And you never know who you built a relationship with 2 years ago that now might be the person who can solve that problem for you, whether it's deal flow, whether it's money, whether it's advice, whether it's a contractor, whether it's property management, whatever it is, there are people, and even if you could have just called them out of the blue and gotten them to manage that property for you or lend you money or whatever it is, you can build a relationship with them and they will take extra special care of you. Right. So I have a property manager I use and I know him very well and he makes sure to look after me and he will answer my phone calls and texts. Whereas a lot of his other people, he doesn't have that much time, right? People only have so much time. So trying to add value to people also gives you access to them, right?
Yeah, no
So
doubt.
it gives you access to people who can solve the problems that you have that you might not even know are there yet.
Yeah, it's amazing. I have a couple of there's a couple of contractors that I never like meet face to face because we just do everything over text or whatever. But there's some people that I have that are like more obscure, like a window guy or glass replacement guy. I've got this guy that does glass replacement, and I don't need them all that often because if we're replacing, we might just replace the whole windows, not just glass replacement. And he's somehow his business has taken off, not somehow, but his business has taken off over the years to where it takes him a long time to get, like if somebody calls him out of the blue, he's like, well, I'll get to it in 6 weeks. It's not real urgent.
Yeah.
Whenever I call him, he's like, you're next in line. Like, he's like, I'm super busy, but just because of things I've made introductions for him, there's things that I've done to really honestly probably help him grow his business. I don't want to take too much credit for it because this guy's worked really hard, but because I've done things in the past, they just moved me up to the front of the line because of treating them right. Right.
Yeah. And I've had that experience with my title company as well. I'm very close to my title company and I've given them so much business. I've never asked for any kickbacks or any referrals or anything back.
Get better service.
I just want her to take care of me when I need help. Right.
Right.
And things like that I think are undervalued. They actually have a huge monetary value as well. So, them solving problems for me, them getting things done for me in a timely manner, all those things make you a lot of money. They're just harder to quantify, right? Where I can mentally go, hey, if I kept this listing, I would make $5,000, but I can't put a value on how many deals I can do with this person because I might get none. I might, maybe the guy will never bring me a deal. I don't know. But if he does, then it'll pay back 10, 20, 30 times.
Yeah. So we're talking about relationships here and how it can impact your business. And so you're a member of our Investor Fuel Mastermind, which is just a big family of people that have built pretty tight relationships with one another and help each other. Can you kind of share what, I guess, being a member, a little bit of a testimonial of what being a member of Investor Fuel has kind of meant for you and your business?
Sure. So I joined Investor Fuel about a year ago, and I was on the way out of a franchise business at that time. And there was a lot of things that I needed to change in my business and learn. And one of the things for me that's just been that I've loved about this group, and one of the reasons why I joined is because I'm a very family, friend, guy. I just care about people. And I find that in this group, there are so many people who really care about you. If you need something, they will help you. If I need information about Facebook marketing or mailers or online marketing or just advice on how to handle a deal, there are so many people that I am now connected to in this group that are problem solvers, and everyone wants to help each other, which I found in this business that's not normal. So a lot of people are a little bit, you're going to take my secrets, if you can't have my contract, you can't have this, you can't have that. But I think there's such a giving mindset in this group. And I think that for me has been the biggest benefit by far. And I've had so many questions answered. And I really feel like it's genuine too. It isn't a forced thing. It's just the culture of the group is giving, right? It's like everyone wants to help each other. So you don't feel like you're a burden to people or you're putting pressure on people. So it's been a huge help to me. So
awesome. Thanks for that. Yeah. I've kind of found, and I think this, I don't know I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I feel like what you just said, people get a lot. They feel like they want to give more. And it just kind of starts this like flywheel of like, man, I want to help more people because I've gotten so much. Right. So it's a cool thing.
Yep, it is. No, it's huge. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really
awesome.
enjoying it.
Awesome.
So.
Well, Isaac, I appreciate you sharing all this great knowledge with us today. I think, relationships are such a powerful thing, and it's really kind of a lost art. So if you're getting some value out of this today, I'd encourage you guys to, try to take it to the next level from wherever you are now. So Isaac, if folks wanted to connect with you, I know you've got a RIA club, and where's a good place to go kind of learn more about you or connect?
We have a Facebook group called Cleveland Off Market Properties. I'm on Facebook, so if you want to toss us a like, that would be great. And then I have a business page, anyohiohomebuyers.com, which is a carrot site, but it's also on Facebook as well. So any positive reviews, any likes would be great. So
awesome, buddy. Well, hey, thanks again for sharing some knowledge with us today.
Thanks, Mike.
And congrats on your success. And you're going to keep cranking here. It's interesting as we go into this new market, whatever this might be. It opens up. It's going to open up a lot of opportunities, especially to those that have been planting seeds and building relationships for a long time.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Awesome.
Definitely.
Isaac. Well, hey, thanks for joining us today, buddy.
Thanks, Mike.
Awesome. And everybody, hey, thanks for joining us for another episode today. I hope you got some good value from the show because we tried to bring it. If you want to access any of our past shows, you can go to investorfuel.com and watch or listen to everything. Or, of course, you can subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, anywhere else where you might be watching or listening to us right now. So hope you have a great day. We'll see you on the next show. Are you an active real estate investor? If so, and you want to latch on to the power of surrounding yourself with over 100 of the nation's leading real estate investors, all committed to building stronger businesses and living richer, fuller lives, you should jump on a call with us to learn more about Investor Fuel. Simply visit investorfuel.com to get started.